Thank you. I might have strayed a little bit from the topic title, I'm just saying. So yesterday, I was sitting in the Sky Club at Minneapolis, St. Paul, waiting for my plane to get there. And it was time to kind of write this talk yesterday. I knew I was a little down in the wire, but I have good reasons why I wrote it so late. So I was at the Unity People's Conference in Overland Park, Missouri. I have no photos because Sarah was kind enough to do the slides for me today. And we're gonna have slides from the conference next week that I'll be able to show you. But I didn't get in yesterday until 7 p.m. and I had flown all day, but there I was in the Sky Club thinking about my Freedom Talk. Now, Reverend Carla, who's the Minister of Unity of San Diego, was still at Kansas City Airport writing her talk. We were really pushing it to get these talks done in separate airports. And I was thinking about my week at the conference and all the really good stuff that happened. I witnessed the most beautiful ordination ceremony, second only to my own. Our friends, my friends, Thomas DeShooter, who will be here Wednesday evening, and he's gonna do a 12 Powers class. He is full of zeal. I love newly ordained ministers. It took me 4 days to get back into my body when I was ordained. So I knew exactly where they were. So Thomas DeShooter, Rachel Wooten, who came all the way there from New Zealand. My old friend Artel Gandy from Detroit. My friend Shara from Unity of Tustin. If any of you have traveled to Unity of Tustin, Reverend Shara is now Reverend Shara. And my great friend and colleague, Brian Sawchuk, Reverend Brian Sawchuk now from Unity of Fort Lauderdale. They were all either licensed or ordained. And it was a beautiful ceremony. I sat there with Reverend Tony, who's my mentor, and I was so moved because they would soon know the freedom that I know of being finished with ministerial school and the tests and the papers and the work that comes with that. Ministerial school is not for the faint of heart. The freedom that I gained last year was a freedom to love and work in service to you, our community, and the members of Unity of the West Side. I was given a key to unlock my heart and love freely, openly, with a firm foundation of unity under me. The freedom of Unity Village with its beautiful fountains, its energy as the home of silent unity, was not lost on myself or anyone else who was there. And then we moved on to the conference where I attended workshops and trainings, and I only missed one of them, which was actually very good for me. I needed a nap at some point, and I took it. Later that night, Reverend Carla and I went for dinner at the casino. That's right, I got another $110 for that Raise the Roof fund, okay? Now, at the business meeting, I learned that Unity of the West Side has 4 votes at the conference. I must tell you that we aren't using any of our votes. And until last year, this ministry had not voted in years and years. So I learned that I have my own vote as a minister, and this church has 4 delegate votes. And there was a measure to cut it down to 2 votes. Now, I, along with a lot of other people in a 4-hour business meeting, voted no, and it did not pass. Another vote was for licensed Unity teachers who have long been denied their standing as Unity leaders a right to vote. And they now have a right to vote. The licensed Unity teachers go through very much what we go through at ministerial school, and yet they weren't, in fact, their tests I've heard are harder. They weren't allowed to vote as Unity leaders, and they now are. So as I learned about Unity and our rights and responsibilities, I wondered why we've been so long being separated from our home office. And it's a question I'm going to be posing to our Board of Trustees. And I'm going to challenge them and you all to become a part of this wonderful Unity movement going forward. Now knowing this, we're at a crossroad, because that's how it works with our rights and our responsibilities. Each right carries a responsibility. And then I got thinking about the 5 principles. The 5 principles of Unity each carry a right and a responsibility, and each brings us freedom. And each brings us a personal character trait that can be developed from working the 5 principles. So I'm going to go over what those 5 principles are. I know you've heard them before, but this is Unity basic foundation. This is the foundation of our beliefs. There is only one ultimate power in the universe. You can call that power anything you want. That's what I love about Unity. We call this power God, universal spirit, life, and its nature is absolute good and absolute love. The principle frees us from fear of a God that punishes or judges us. It frees us from the fear that there's a Satan who can and will overpower us if we are not constantly vigilant. It frees us from the belief that any other person has authority over our own spirit. This principle offers us the freedom to trust in a benevolent and loving universe, which has only our good in mind. No matter what, showing up, hear that. The universe has only your good in mind. The personal characteristic of this principle is trust. Now the second principle, humankind was created from absolute good, and our inherent nature is also good. We call our inherent nature and goodness the Christ. And we see the Christ in all. Again, you can call it whatever you want, but it is that force within you that sees all the good. It is the namaste. The Christ in me beholds the Christ in thee. You can call it namaste. It's okay. This principle frees us from low self-esteem and a lack of confidence. It frees us from earlier teachings that told us we were inherently and originally sinful. It frees us to express the truth of who we are, which, like our Creator, is goodness and love. It frees us to trust ourselves in an awareness of our Christ nature. We realize that no one and nothing is against me. The personal characteristic of this principle is self-esteem. The third principle, the one that everybody has challenges with. Our thoughts and feelings combined have great creative power. We co-create with God. Everybody goes, no, 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 I didn't create this. Yeah, on some level your soul did. On some level you agreed to whatever you're encountering in life. So just flow with it. Whatever we consistently focus our thoughts and feelings on manifests in our lives. This principle frees us from the feelings of being victimized by life. It frees us from the feelings of blame and powerlessness that keep us from prospering. Well, I can't do good because I don't have the schooling, and I can't do that because I don't have the money. And you go through your ain't gots. I ain't got this and I ain't got that. You know what? You got a lot. And maybe if you ain't got it, you didn't need it in the first place. It frees us to accept responsibility for our lives when we realize we have the power to change that which is holding us hostage. Hear that. We have the power to change. We have the keys to our prisons. It frees us to co-create the life we dream of. The personal characteristic of this principle is empowerment. The fourth principle, prayer and meditation are essential elements of the spiritual life because they keep us awake and aware of our oneness with God and all creation. This teaching frees us from the feelings of alienation and isolation from God and other people. Prayer and meditation free us from the mental, emotional, and physical cravings and addictions that restrict our freedom. By teaching us to take charge of and to tame our unruly minds, they restore to us the freedom to choose what and whom we give our attention to. Silence is our pipeline, our direct pipeline to the rich and peace-filled fields of God. The last principle, maybe my favorite principle, it's not enough to know the truth. We must put that truth into action in our lives. Knowing is lovely. Doing is divine. The truth you know is the truth you use. Otherwise, it's only theory and has no power to change your life. We must live the truth that we know. This principle frees us from inertia and stuckness. If you get stuck, do something. Anything that comes to your mind. It will unstick you. It frees us from pain caused by the split we feel between what we believe and how we behave. It frees us to act on our beliefs and live the rich-filled life that God has intended from the very beginning. And the personal characteristic of this principle is boldness. You have to be bold to do stuff. When I teach people with developmental disabilities about their rights, they always get excited. I have rights? Yes, you have rights. And I teach people I've taught for the past, I don't know, it's been 30-some years. It's been a long time. I love to teach people with disabilities about their rights because they're always so empowered by the fact that they have rights. But I also teach them that our freedoms and our rights come with responsibility. And we need to live the 5 principles of unity that I just talked about in our homes and here in our spiritual community and in this country. As we choose to allow the principles to guide and direct our lives, aligning us all in unity, in oneness. We need to do unity, and we need to become involved. So I want to talk about our country for a moment, because while it's not perfect, a lot like the Unity Conference that I saw, unity not perfect, but is far better than many other countries enjoy. Along with our right to vote comes the responsibility to listen to each other. not to judge or close our mind to each other, and allow respectful disagreements. Think about that. While we work together to make a better union. In other words, make better unity, and make better oneness. This can be done in our spiritual community, in our towns, in our states, and throughout the whole country. So you know what? The movement starts here, right now, in our minds. As we release the judgments and all that comes with disagreeing with each other, and we embrace each other, can we all agree to just love each other and our country, love them with the principles of unity that I just described, and in some way, shape, or form, become involved. If you have 4 votes and you don't use any, or you have 1 vote and you don't use any, then you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. Namaste.
Namaste.